When I was 17, my family moved 2 states away without telling me. They left a note that said, "You'll figure it out." 12 years later, after I finally made it without them, they reached out trying to reconnect. I came home from my shift at the diner on my 17th birthday with a slice of leftover cheesecake and a dream of finally finishing my college applications. The driveway was empty. No rusted minivan. No scent of my mom's cheap cigarettes. I thought they were at the store. I walked inside and the silence hit me like a physical blow. Every piece of furniture was gone. The living room was just 4 walls and dust bunnies. I ran upstairs, my heart hammering against my ribs. My room was stripped. All that was left was my mattress on the floor and a single, lined piece of notebook paper sitting in the center of it. I picked it up, my hands shaking so hard I nearly tore the page. It was my mother's handwriting. "No, dear Sarah. No, we're sorry. Just 4 words. You'll figure it out." I spent that night curled in a ball on that bare mattress, crying until my eyes swelled shut. They hadn't just moved. They had vanished. They took my clothes, my computer, and even my birth certificate. I was 17. I had $84 in my bank account and a bike with a chain that slipped every 3 miles. The next morning, I didn't die. I didn't call the police because I knew if I entered the system, I'd never get to college. I went to work. I told my boss my parents were out of town and asked for double shifts. I showered at the gym. I slept in the empty house until the bank foreclosed 2 months later. I worked 3 jobs. I studied under streetlights. I became a ghost in my own town, fueled by a white-hot rage that kept me warmer than any blanket ever could. "You'll figure it out," I'd whisper to myself every time I skipped a meal to pay for a textbook. 12 years later, I'm not that broken girl anymore. I'm a senior partner at a top architectural firm in Chicago. I own a penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows. I have a life built on a foundation of steel and sight. Then 3 weeks ago, my phone buzzed. An unknown number from my hometown. "Sarah, it's Mom. We've missed you so much, baby girl." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat at my mahogany desk and felt a cold, clinical curiosity. Missing me is a long-term commitment. "Susan," I said, my voice as level as a horizon. "It's been 4,380 days. What do you want?" There was a muffled sob on the other end. Then my father's voice cracked through. "Your mother is sick, Sarah. We're losing the house in Georgia. We saw your profile in that business magazine. We're so proud of you. We always knew you'd be a success. Is that why you left me in an empty house with a note?" I asked. "We had to," he pleaded. "The debt was crushing us. We couldn't afford to take you. We knew you were the strong one. We knew you'd figure it out." The audacity of him using those words made me laugh. It was a sharp, jagged sound. "You're right," I said. "I did figure it out. I figured out how to survive a winter without heat. I figured out how to forge a signature for a FAFSA. I figured out how to bury the memory of you both so deep I forgot what your faces look like." "Please," my mother whimpered. "We're family." "Family doesn't leave a child to starve," I replied. "But you're in luck. I'm an architect. I'm very good at finding solutions for people." There was a pause of hope on their end. I could hear them breathing, thinking they'd finally hit the jackpot. "I'm sending something to your address," I said. "Expect it by Friday." I hung up. I didn't block them. I wanted them to wait. On Friday, a courier arrived at their crumbling rental in Georgia. They probably expected a check, maybe a key to a new life. They opened the envelope. Inside was no money, no plane tickets. It was a single-lined piece of notebook paper. In my best professional handwriting, I had written 4 words. "You'll figure it out." I attached a printout of the nearest homeless shelter and a list of local food banks. They tried to call me 30 times that hour. I watched the screen light up over and over again while I sipped a glass of vintage scotch. Then I hit delete. I didn't just survive them. I erased them. And honestly, the silence never sounded so sweet.